out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Steven Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is Steven Jensen. And shout out as always to Big Dick MLJ for the intro. It is Thursday, December 18th, and we got plenty to talk about in the world of professional wrestling. We had Dynamite last night with MJF's return. We had John Cena retiring this past weekend. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that. And we are scheduled to be joined by Cabana Man Dan, who is retiring himself this weekend. So Cabana Man Dan is scheduled to join us hopefully about 7:30 or so. So we will talk to Dan. He's a multi-time guest on this show. It's always good to chat with Dan. We'll see how he's feeling ahead of his retirement match. Jensen, how you been?
Been doing good. We took off last week. We'll be off again next week as well. So last episode of the year, I guess. Do we have another week after?
The following week is that New Year's Day? 2 weeks from now? New Year's Day? Yeah, it's New Year's Day. So technically, yes. This is the last episode of the year. Yeah,
last episode of the year. So happy end of 2020 out there who's watching this show. But yeah, things have been pretty good. Just obviously we got a lot to talk about in the world of wrestling. I got a lot of thoughts on the Cena retirement for sure. Yeah, I mean, my Vikings looking better. You know, I'm a lot more optimistic than I was a few weeks ago. So yeah, and you guys, dude, I told you guys in the preseason, I was like, the Panthers are better than what people think. They had a pretty good year, man. They're still having a pretty good year.
And that was a tough loss to New Orleans because we win that game and then all we got to do is beat the Bucs in 1 out of 2, and we win the division. Instead, we lose that game, and now we basically got to beat the Bucs twice to win the division. So, and like it's New Orleans, you already lost to them once. They're a 4-win team. Half of those wins came against you. Terrible.
And with that quarterback that has like no experience,
Tyler Shuck, yeah, he's lighting us up.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. If you would have told, I mean, you definitely didn't think they were like a playoff, like a team that you had a chance to make the playoffs in the preseason. It felt like, you know.
I thought they would be. Yeah, I thought they would be better than they were last year because they took some good steps at the end of last year. And they are. I think if you told any Panthers fan, like, hey, you're gonna be like 7-7, 7-6 with 4 games remaining, or 3 games remaining, you're gonna be 7-6. Like, oh, that's great. That's a 2-win improvement, and there's 3 more games to, you know, maybe win 10 games somehow. You know, if you can win all 3 of them, which I don't think they will, but yeah, any Panthers fan would take that. But then you watch it play out, and it's like, can we not beat the Saints? Because it's weird because you would think they would have lost to the Packers in Green Bay and they would have lost to the Rams because the Rams are the best team in maybe the league right now. So you look at those and you're like, oh yeah, those are 2 losses, but then you'll probably beat the Saints because the Saints aren't very good. And instead it was flipped where you lose 2 games to the Saints and you somehow beat the Packers in Green Bay and you beat the Rams.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you guys got a bright future, I think. Regardless of how this season finishes, you know, we'll see. I do, of course. It is somewhat related because he played for both of our teams. I can't ignore this in the chat here. D'Lo Diggs, thank you very much for sending this message. By the way, hello to everybody who's in the chat joining us live, and of course anyone who watches us later on demand. But if you're here live in the chat, we keep an eye on it the whole show. So feel free to let us know throughout the show, what you're thinking. If you have any questions, especially end of the year stuff, if you have last episode of the year. So if you got something you wanted to ask all year or thoughts about next year, let me know. And of course, if you have super chats, we'll make sure to put it on the screen. But I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I'll keep it short and sweet. Adam Thielen, probably my favorite player ever. I've made that known for a long time. Like, I was very, I was trying to manifest him coming back to the Vikings ever since he left for Carolina. And when he went to Carolina, he played very well. He proved his value. I think that, I think him and Carolina was a really good fit. I think it helped Bryce Young with his progression and stuff early on and stuff like that, especially the young receiving crew. Yeah. So, I mean, I have nothing but respect and love for Adam Thielen and his decision to go to Carolina when he did. It wasn't a good fit in Minnesota at the time. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Kevin O'Connell's offense and having Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and just better receivers, TJ Hawkinson and so on and so forth. So it was what it was. And then for the opportunity for him to come back, it was just perfect. And I was super stoked about it. We really needed him the first few games because Jordan Addison had a suspension for 3 games and Jalen Naylor was dealing with an injury in the offseason. We didn't know if he'd be ready or not. Also, Justin Jefferson was dealing with like a small injury in the preseason that wasn't a big deal, but like you just never really know. So it just made all the sense in the world to bring Thielen back. Fast forward to, a few weeks ago, Thielen essentially tells the team, I want to leave because, I'm only going to play till the end of this year. And, I just want to go out with either like a contender or getting more playing time. I'm still a competitor. And, the Vikings didn't even activate him for his last game with the team. He was a healthy scratch for the game. So that's where things were at with the team. Thielen did this whole nice, message to the Vikings fans about how he's going to come back and, at the end for, the 1-day contract, retire as a Viking, no hard feelings, said really nice stuff about the Vikings organization, all the people, so on and so forth. And then he gets to the Steelers, goes out there, plays 1 game with Aaron Rodgers, gets, I think, 1 catch for 4 yards, gets on a microphone talking about how he's regained the love he has for the game, talking about, oh, maybe this isn't the end of my career after all. Like, you never know. And then goes out there the next week. I think it's 0 catches this past game. Also muffs the onside at the end of the game. Luckily, his teammate recovered it. But he almost put them in a position to lose this past game as well, because he straight up muffed the onside. So it's just one of those things where there's only a few weeks left. If he actually retires at the end of the year, this will just be kind of like a weird asterisk footnote kind of at the end of his career, almost like a trivia question. Like, what team did Adam Thielen retire with? He played his last 5 games or whatever. But if he continues to play past this year and continues to kind of backhandedly, he's somewhat backhandedly trash talking the Vikings doing this stuff, in my opinion, as well. And it's just kind of like, dude, why blow this up with an organization that's been really good to you for a very long time, brought you back, tried to make it work, it didn't work, and just shut up and just try to catch some patches from Aaron Rodgers.
Are you telling Adam,
you know what I mean?
It is shut up and run routes?
To shut up and play football now, dude. It's crazy because you figure he would just want to go down with the ship with the Vikings. That's your childhood team. You grew up in Minnesota. Everyone knows the story. Mankato State University, walked onto the Vikings special teams guy, made it onto the roster, so on and so forth, became a Pro Bowler. He played with the Vikings for 12 seasons before he came back for this half season as well. He's a Vikings legend. He's one of the all-time greats in the organization. I just don't like how he just kind of I guess the Steelers technically are in a better position because they had it. I think they still technically have a chance to make the playoffs. I think, but it's not like he's in some great position. Whatever. If he wins, he wins. Good for him. My bigger concern is if he stays another season next year, and it's dude, I feel like the Vikings let you out of your deal mainly because you told them you were retiring at the end of the year. You know what I mean? That's probably the biggest reason they were okay with letting him go. Otherwise, they wouldn't have just cut him when they did. So,
I think he's still going to retire at the end of this year because who's going to really want him after all of this, the production isn't there. I mean, he's not a productive player anymore. So why would anybody actually like want him at this point? So I still think he is going to retire. The like trashing Minnesota or saying he found his joy, that's the weird thing to me. Like if he wants to go be on a competitive team and try to make the playoffs because it most likely is his last year, I don't have an issue with that. The Steelers are leading their division. They're probably going to make the playoffs. They could falter down the stretch, but they're in a good spot right now to make the playoffs. So I understand Thielen wanting to still have a shot at the playoffs. Him being like, oh, I found my joy and I might stay another season. I don't think he's productive enough at this point. Like the Panthers let him go. They saw like, we're going to go with the young guys. The Vikings, it seemed like, could have used him and he didn't do enough to get on the field. And the Steelers, he's only had a couple of catches, if that. You said he had one. So I just don't think he was a free agent technically. And the Steelers were the team that picked him up. Like the Steelers are the mismatch team of all mismatch teams. Like they're just kind of taking anybody and just patching it together and be like, all right, what can we do for Aaron? Because it's probably Aaron's last season at this point. So, but shut up and go catch the football, says Steven Jensen.
Shut up and go catch the football, Thielen. You're my favorite player of all time. I don't want to turn on you at the end of your career. Like, listen, if he goes out and he wins a Super Bowl, even if he just goes out there and has fun, whatever. Like, it is what it is. The problem is in Minnesota, like, the choice that they had to make was, do we put Adam Thielen on the field or Jalen Nailor? And Jalen Nailor's out there making plays constantly. Adam Thielen dropped like 80% of the passes that he got thrown to him. Like, he only got a few targets and he kept dropping the ball. And Jalen Nailor's literally making game-winning catches and catching touchdowns for us consistently. Like, it's a no-brainer. And they're not going to bench Jordan Addison or Justin Jefferson. So, like, it was what it was. Like,
JJ McCarthy is benching Justin Jefferson right now.
It's wild that of all the receivers, he's the one that they're like. To be fair, Jefferson caught a touchdown that got called back during the game earlier. But later in the game, there was another one where he was wide open and Jefferson just straight up dropped the ball. Like, but once they start clicking, like I've been on the JJ McCarthy bandwagon since he got drafted 2 years ago. So like I have a lot of faith that they're going to figure this out. I like Kevin O'Connell. The play calling has been a lot better the last few weeks. They've been running the ball a lot more, which they needed to do. That O'Connell just needs to cater his style of play calling more to McCarthy with his inexperience and his play style and who we have around him versus like O'Connell's way too plug and play. Even when we had the Pastronaut, Josh Dobbs out there for a few games, he had him trying to run the same offense they were trying to run with, Kirk Cousins. And it's like a totally different quarterback, different skill set. Like you can't just plug and play like that. It doesn't work. So anyways, that's my thoughts. That's probably enough football talk that you guys probably don't want to hear any more NFL stuff, but Skol Vikings, I'm still optimistic heading into next season. Hopefully we do well in the draft. There's a chance we get rid of our general manager. We need to do well in the draft this year. It's very important. So anyways.
All right, you want to get into some professional wrestling?
Let's talk pro wrestling until Dan shows up, and then we'll talk about Dan.
All right.
Yeah.
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
John Cena has retired. I'm not going to go through John Cena's entire career. I'm sure we will reflect on a fair amount of it here as we discuss things. But he faced Gunther in his last match. He tapped out with a smile on his face. There's been a lot of debate about this finish. Jensen, what did you think of this finish?
So, of course, everyone knows, how we got here. One of the best heel turns of all time, the actual turn, the heel run itself, atrocious. I mean, like in hindsight, it's going to be like really, really, it's already, people already have the feelings they have about it. Like, I think history is going to make it look even worse over time. Like, it was just a major botched job of the actual heel run. But we got what we got. There's a lot of questions to be asked, right? Like, was Gunther the right guy or not? Did Cena, should he have won or lost? How should he have won or lost? That kind of stuff. And I will say, I think that John Cena was probably the biggest advocate of anybody for him losing his own last match. So I will say that. That's probably pretty obvious. That said, as a fan, I probably would have preferred for him to win the match. I think it would have been a great feel-good moment. Like, obviously, the Sting retirement was like the coolest thing of all time. Wait, were you there? You were there live at that one. That's where you got me that action figure, right? Yeah, dude. That's what an incredible match, an incredible moment when Sting locks in that Scorpion Deathlock that last time, and they win, and I mean, incredible. And so we have kind of like a blueprint of like the best retirement I've ever seen, especially for somebody who went out on a win. So it can be done, especially in today's day and age. That's another kind of like conversation I've seen popping up on like YouTube or on like any social media I've seen since this has been like, the whole discourse of whether he should have won or lost and all that kind of stuff. There's so many directions and so many thoughts that people have about this. I'll get into my actual thoughts here because it would take me like an hour to like dissect everything that had to do with this. Gunther, in my opinion, probably should have won. Like, it's probably the right thing for him to win the match. But Cena losing the way that he lost was like, I don't know if I can really, this is going to sound like I'm over exaggerating. Like, that's maybe the worst way they could have possibly had him lose at the end of that match. Like, I think it was like such a bad decision for them to have him smiling while he's tapping out. Like, it was just it goes completely against everything that has to do with his everything he's been saying for over 20 years. The whole never give up. I mean, there's so many ways you could have done this without, for instance, what I would have done, and I never bring up fantasy booking and that kind of stuff. But what I would have done, at one point, Gunther had the sleeper on Cena, and they were both standing. And while they were standing, that's when I would have had Cena, like, he's fighting it off. He's trying to rip Gunther's hands apart, and Gunther and they're still standing. And that's when I would have had Cena like realize like he's not getting out. He's in the middle of the ring and he's stuck there standing up. And that's when I would have had him like do the salute or something. Just put his hand up one last time and Gunther just pulls him backwards onto the ground in that choke. And that's when you do the spot that they did where Cena does the 1, 2, and then he goes, about to go down, does this. Everyone goes completely insane. And then his hand drops. And it's like he never gave up. He stuck to his hustle, loyalty, respect. They stuck to all this stuff. Because a big part of the problem that I have with this is like, not only was it seen as wrestling gimmick, he went around for over 20 years telling like Make-A-Wish kids to never give up. And like, you literally like, it was the most blatant giving up I've ever seen in a wrestling match. Like, it was just so strange that they thought that was like a good idea or the route that they should have gone for that. So yeah, I mean, I have a lot. I could talk about it a lot, but I mean, I honestly, I have not seen your thoughts about this. So do you agree with me, or like, did you like it? How did you feel about this?
I wanted him to win. I thought he should win because I do think Sting's retirement kind of set the tone of like, hey, you don't have to lose your last match. You can win your last match, and it's okay. I said it in the lead up, and I'll repeat it here. There is a difference between announcing this is your last match and putting your career on the line. Shawn Michaels put his career on the line. Ric Flair, for months, put his career on the line until he lost to Shawn Michaels. Them losing is like, okay, well, we know that's their last match because they put their career on the line. They were going to have to lose at some point, at least with Flair. That was the whole thing. Shawn Michaels, maybe he wins that match and then puts his career on the line later, but his career was on the line. So him losing, okay, makes sense. When you announce your last match, I think it's okay to give the fans like a happy moment there, because you didn't really retire him. Gunther didn't really retire to didn't retire John Cena. Like, John Cena retired John Cena at Money in the Bank 2024 when he said, I'm going to retire in December of 2025. That was that. So I wish Cena had won. I don't mind Gunther winning. I do worry about the follow-up because they got to prove they can do something with it. I thought Monday was a good start. Gunther got a lot of heat. He kept it short and sweet. He didn't, overstay with his promo or anything like that. If Otis is the first guy he faces, I'm like, I don't know, but sure. And then Gunther, he's got to have a big WrestleMania match. He's got to have a big 2025. Like, you got to make a big deal out of this. He can't just be a mid-card guy out of this, because then I don't think you do a ton with it. I also don't think that they did a great job in the lead up to it, because and particularly the Brock Lesnar loss. Brock squashed him. Mm-hmm. That was pretty unnecessary if Cena was going to lose in this manner. I didn't even like that Dominic beat him. I know it took the entire Judgment Day. It was like, you just lost your last match. What do I care if you lose this match as well? And the tapping out thing. So Jose's mentioning the John Cena interview with Cody Rhodes. I did listen to that. I did a bunch of articles on it as well. It was Cena's call to do a lot of things, because Cena did have some of the calls here. Sure. So I gotta remember. So I'm gonna pull this up. Jose saying it was Cena's call to smile in the Cody interview. He said he told the production to focus on his face longer, and it'll make sense why to do so. I can't remember. I'd have to listen to it on that, because he was also talking about the heel turn in this same thing, and that was also a close-up of his face. And I don't remember if he was discussing the heel turn where they did the close-up when he hugged Cody and then his facial changed, or if he was discussing this. I'd have to go back and re-listen to that portion, because I don't recall. And I'm going to go back and re-listen to it, because I do have to do an article on that. I was just doing an article on other stuff. So I don't want to misrepresent Cena's comments on that. It was his call to smile regardless, because I don't think anyone told him to smile on that. Like, John Cena's going to go out there and do what he wants, because he even referenced the Obi-Wan thing, or Cody might have referenced it, and Cena agreed, and Cena did post the Obi-Wan caption on Instagram the day after. So Cena knew what he was doing with the smile. I don't know if you saw or heard his explanation on it, but the way he explained it was he basically went peacefully. Like, he died peacefully. And he talked about, when somebody in your family passes away, like, natural causes of everything, they want to see everybody that they see, and they give a smile before they go, and they might be holding your hand, and then all of a sudden they are gone. I get what he is saying with that. He's also not dying. He's a pro wrestler who got up immediately after and then watched a video package.
No, and also, career. What I'm about to say might sound like really insensitive. Like, I'm just gonna preface that. Okay, would he have told a Make-A-Wish kid that? You know what I'm saying? Eventually just give up. It's so counterintuitive to everything he's ever. His message is fight until the end. Never give up. Not, okay, you got me, I give up.
And here's where I think 20 years ago, this stuff can work. And if he does this and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand what he's going for. We're never going to see Cena again. Or if he does, it's going to be months, years, and he might just make an appearance and who knows. Like, I understand that. The business is so different today. And the biggest way that it is different is you saw it at the end of the show when Triple H comes out and gets booed and gets you fucked up chance because everyone knows that it's all booked. So everyone knows that they can book something different. WWE Unreal tells you, hey, we could do this. We're doing this. Maybe we'll do this. Please praise us when we do great things. Here's the people you should be mad at. Here's the people you should be praising of who's putting all this together. We all know these things. And again, I'll go right back to it. He gave up. He tapped out. It's like, okay, if he had just disappeared and that's the end of the show, like you're probably not going to be happy with that. But I can buy, like, he gave all he had and that was it. He did go peacefully. He was up a few seconds later, glad handing, and the titles are being put on him. Triple H is coming out. Look at this video package. And I'm like, you didn't go anywhere. You're still here.
Yeah. Y'all know how much I love Cody Rhodes, right? Y'all know how I feel about CM Punk, but I still respect the man, right? Like, I think that CM Punk and Cody Rhodes are, outside of like Roman Reigns, of course, when he's, available, they're the two biggest stars in the company, right? And like for them to come out there and, but that was like, that was lame. It was lame coming out there, after everything that happened, coming out and putting the titles on him, like belts that, he's not the champion. Like, I know he was the champion. Everyone knows he was the champion 17 times, but yeah, it was very, I don't know if like hollow is the right word. It didn't feel right either. None of it felt right. The crowd was pissed off. Like you said, they're chanting F you, Hunter, or whatever they were chanting at him. They all knew what was going on. And, no one could have been happy about that. And Cena, I assure you, Cena, I can't say that. I can't assure you, honestly, of what Cena was thinking when he woke up the next morning. He might have thought that this was the greatest.
I mean, he said he was at peace with everything. He said it exceeded his expectations, but I say this, and I don't think John Cena was ever going to bury anything that happened there. Cena did say about the whole title thing, like, he did say, like, yeah, he felt a little uncomfortable with that. And you could see it
trying to give him back. Yeah.
You could see it on his face. And then they were like, no, hold him up. And so he did that. But he did say in that interview, he's like, yeah, I didn't really want that. I didn't really want the whole big thing at the end. And you could tell he felt a little uncomfortable there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, that makes, him and all of us then, I guess, who were witnessing it. It just, and here's the thing, like, had Cena just won, the crowd goes home happy. You get this insane moment of him winning. It doesn't hurt Gunther at all. Another thing I meant to bring it up earlier, but like another thing that I've seen people kind of talking about is like, the whole idea of like having to lose your last match on the way out, or how that's such like a time honored tradition and so on and so forth. But like, when you think about it, that concept is really more made towards like, if John Cena was like leaving and like continuing his career and he was like going to go to AEW, like, then yeah, like it makes all the sense in the world. Like when there was competition and there were like WCW and that, and people were jumping back and forth between major promotions, like it made a lot of sense. But like when someone's straight up retiring and like has made it this clear they're never coming back, like that's a different thing. You know what I mean? Like there's no threat of like Cena leaving to go anywhere else. Like he can leave on top. And by the way, just for the record, I understand why they did the 1-year retirement tour. I know that they marketed the hell out of it, and like Cena, it was an idea that he really, really liked, and they did it, and it's different. But I think it was a really, really bad idea to like actually announce your retirement in professional wrestling for no matter who you are, especially John Cena, because the problem now is he's still healthy. He's still in very good shape. He could easily wrestle once a year, once every couple years, whenever, and the fans would want to see it. And it's just like, it really didn't even make any sense for him to like put this much of he could have literally done all of this and done a Brian Danielson style. He could have totally done a Brian Danielson style and like what he did with Mox. Like, it's pretty vague. Like, he's retired. He's done full time. Everyone knows it. We all celebrated their career, but there's still a chance that Danielson comes back for the right circumstance. Like, he hasn't completely said no matter what. So even Shawn Michaels said no matter what until the right money came around, like 7 years later.
I think Cena kind of wanted to have that finality with everything, though, instead of, hey, I'm just going to kind of keep going until I can't go anymore, and then maybe my last match is my last match, or I do announce my last match is it, but then even then, like, maybe I can go next year. Like, I think he really wanted to do I'm going to do these dates. I'm going to basically say goodbye to everybody and be at peace with everything. I mean, he's said it many times in these interviews of like, if I come back, you can call me a liar. Like, he seems very steadfast on,
I'm fine with that, though. Dude lied his whole career, then tapped out smiling. He totally gave up. He's like, and he lied about, like, anyway. He lost so much credibility as a character for me by doing what he did.
Well, he's not wrestling anymore, so who cares about his character?
True. I'm actually more concerned about the kids that grew up fans of him that are still fans that are like, wait, he was lying to me. My childhood hero was lying the whole time. When I was going through hard times, and Cody and she's saying, yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to complain. They have a new guy to believe in, and it's Cody Rhodes, and those kids can just become little nightmare family kids.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes, who shows up at people's houses and attacks them. That's the guy that you want to.
Drew deserved it.
Behind.
I love Drew, but he'd agree he deserved it.
How did he deserve it? He showed up to his house.
I don't know.
He deserved that.
I just know that they're going at it. Also, by the way, I don't want to forget to bring this up before we move on from the Gunther and Cena stuff. You mentioned what are they going to do next with Gunther. Him and AJ had like a little like stare down right before Gunther got into his car on Monday.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that Gunther will eventually retire AJ. I think he'll be AJ's last match also. It's very clear that they're going with like a career killer thing with Gunther. But like, it's just a matter of like who else is kind of on that list. Like, I think him and Randy Orton, I think, is going to be a good one eventually because you have the legend killer versus the career killer, and like it could actually wind up being Orton's last match. But I also wouldn't have had a problem with Cena being the one guy to beat Gunther, even if Gunther retired all these other guys. Like, even Hogan would come back and like, beat Randy Orton, and rarely ever lose. But yeah, Gunther going to retire Jericho, says Jose in the chat. That's possible. I'm not really sold on this idea of Jericho like 1 year retirement run. I think he's definitely coming back to the WWE, and I was saying that even months ago. But I don't think that like AJ has made it clear 2026 is going to be it. And it's wild. I was explaining to my brother about how AJ had been saying he wanted to go out like before he didn't want to overstay his welcome in wrestling. Like, he wants to go out while he can still physically do all the stuff that he's able to do. I was literally saying it as he botched that springboard. It was like the timing was insane. I was like, oh my God. But AJ, I could definitely see AJ and Gunther being happening, and also AJ, saying he's going to retire. I see people saying Brock is going to retire in 2026 also. I guess there might be some truth to that, because I think I was seeing something about like they're going to go to Minnesota. Is it SummerSlam?
SummerSlam's in Minnesota. Yeah, Cena was the one who kind of first threw that out there. He
Yeah.
said that maybe Brock was going to retire SummerSlam, Minnesota. There's been no like confirmation on that. Obviously, Brock has not said anything, so I don't know how much truth there is to that. Cena's the one who again kind of started that, and then people just kind of picked up on that and then ran with it. Of well, if Brock's gonna retire, this would be a great shot, and Gunther can be the one to do it. AJ's the only one that is like confirmed. He's done in 2026. Randy hasn't said anything. Jericho hasn't said anything. Brock hasn't said anything. The company hasn't said anything regarding that. Like AJ has said plenty of like, yeah, I'm done this year.
Ryan in the chat, Ryan K. Lamb says little kids can become Javon fans. Huh?
That's our pal, Ryan Lambert.
Oh, I didn't realize. I actually know. I know who that is. Actually, I'm sorry. I always get thrown off by people's screen names. But thank you. I think that little kids can become Javon fans. I'm a Javon fan. I was a Javon fan when he was wrestling for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He's a giant loser. That's the problem with Javon.
Oh, Javon, yeah. I mean, he has been losing the big matches, but the good thing for him is, I was going to say I've been a fan since, I was watching him in Battle Slam, Jay Malachi. He's got all the time in the world. That's a good thing for him. And he's going to keep filling out also like physically, like he got a tall frame, and like when he gets a little older, he'll get a little bigger. He'll keep putting on size. And even like Cody, a handful of years ago, like the muscle mass difference is actually he's in a lot better shape now at his age now than he was a handful of years ago. And it's like that with a lot of these guys. So like, I think Javon he's just a really he's a long play for the WWE. He's going to be in that company for a very long time. And I think he's going to be very successful. So I think that Javon is somebody that the kid, I mean, if I was a little kid, he'd be one of my favorites for sure, with the way that how innovative he is, the way he bounces around and does stuff from like ropes in certain ways that like other people don't. Very, very, very talented. So yeah, they got a, it'll be interesting to see, what the future of the WWE looks like in a handful of years, because they have a lot of really good young talent that haven't like you said, Javon's been a loser, but like eventually they'll really get behind him. They seem to be getting really behind Leon Slater also, which is kind of surprising since he's technically a TNA talent, but I'd assume that they're just waiting until that technically, whenever they have an opportunity to bring him in, I'm sure that's going to happen immediately, but he's another one to watch because both those guys are only like 21 or something. I mean, they're both super young. So anyways,
I hope they don't like just feel these guys have all the time in the world, and so they don't need to do anything with them. That's very dumb to me. It's like, oh well, he's only 21. We don't need to put the title on him for another 10 years because he's going to be here for another 20 years. It's like, if the guy is this good right now, and he's this good right now, and he already has a connection with everybody right now, it's okay to go with him right now. Like, it's how many to use a real sports comparison here, of like, if you're the best player in the league at 21, 22, 23 years old, no one's like, well, you can't win a title yet because you'll get another shot. I'll use Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl in his third season
Something
with the
like
Bengals, and now he hates football. And now, I don't know what his future is gonna be. Like, Dan Marino is obviously the classic example of, he went there his first or second season and then never got back. Like, it's okay if these guys are that good and already have this connection to just go with them at that point.
Yeah, Andrew Luck just retires. Like,
he retired at 29.
Hits his prime. Yeah. No, you're right though. I mean, and to be fair, in any professional sport, whoever is playing the best, regardless of, this would be very MJF, talent over tenure, is very true in professional sports. I know obviously in like baseball, for instance, sometimes they'll sign these guys when they're like 16 or whatever, like out of high school, 16, 17, and they sit in like the minors for a few years sometimes. Like really good players might not even get to the actual team for a few years and stuff like that. That's kind of how I view it with Javon. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying like I think that they signed him very young, like unusually young. I don't think they signed very many people like 20 years old. Like it just, I mean, it's probably more common now, but I remember like back in like the late 90s when they signed Teddy Hart at 18, that was like completely unheard of. And then they didn't really do much of that for a long time probably because of how it went with Teddy at such a young age. They're like, you're probably hold off on signing people when they're 18, especially when they're this guy. Anyways, yeah, I'm with you, but I like, and you're right though. The fans are behind him. He's gotten exposure on WWE TV at this point too. Like the whole fan base knows who he is. So I'm not disagreeing. Like I'm fine with them pushing Javon Evans right now. It'd be fine.
Yeah, just I don't understand the point of just wait for. Don't worry, they have a lot of time. You never know what's gonna happen, either. Like,
yeah,
what if, God forbid, a major injury happens? What if they decide to go elsewhere? What if AEW is coming around like, hey, you know what? We're gonna make you this giant offer. Why don't you come over here? And you never did put the title on him. Like, so many things can happen when you have a guy. Just go ahead and make the guy and boost him up. This is why, like, I know you're gonna defend Cody Rhodes, but I would have been fine with Obafemi just beating him on Saturday. Cody's not going to lose anything. It's okay. Just Oba gets a big victory, bring him up to the main roster, and push this dude. Like, he's ready now. Why are we waiting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I understand the line of thinking. I know a lot of people wanted to see that happen. And look, I'm very impressed by Obafemi. Okay, I'm almost positive he had like a match or two on NXT Level Up when I was covering it for the weekend, or like when he was like brand new, like had like no experience. And there was like a handful of guys around that time that were like big, athletic, like former football player type guys. And like the next thing I knew, within like a few months, that guy was like one of like the top guys in NXT all of a sudden. I was like, oh, okay, like that's. And he's gotten very good very quickly. And he has the look and the size, and he looks like a star and carries himself like a star. Like I've got nothing against Obafemi. I think he has an incredibly bright future. I wouldn't have had it. I mean, I'm not going to advocate for anybody to be Cody, to be fair, obviously. I will also mention, to be fair, this is the one thing that I'll say against Cody Rhodes. It's not really against Cody Rhodes, but I will say Javon Evans' top rope Cody cutter is like way better than Cody's. Like when they're doing that kind of stuff on the same show, it kind of makes Cody look bad. So as a Cody fan, kind of didn't appreciate that. Javon, Cody goes out there, he's hitting Cody cutters in the opening match against Obafemi. Then you come out there and do yours like 10 times better a few matches later. So that's really obviously more on Cody, than Javon. But yeah. Javon, and the biggest comparison you could probably make is like as far as like AEW and like a similar situation is like if this wouldn't go for just Javon, this would go for anybody who's kind of stuck in like NXT purgatory, even like Trick Williams or someone who like is kind of in between, where it's like you've done most of what there is to do in NXT. They're not ready for whatever reason on the main roster. You're kind of in that in between. That's kind of where Swerve Strickland was. And he's talked about that in interviews recently as well, like in WWE. And they even referenced it. We'll talk about it when we get to our AEW spotlights. But they referenced it last night with MJF. Like Swerve, he talked about it with Chris Van Vliet recently in an interview too. You know, Swerve was in that kind of position where like they didn't really push him. They kind of made him a loser. They, and like they just didn't see him as a star. And then AEW, does what they've done with him. And now he's like literally one of the top guys, if not the top guy. I'm sure, I have no idea what his contract looks like, but I'm sure he's making really, really good money. And like he's one of the guys like the company is literally built around. And I could totally see a situation like that with one of these young guys in NXT that if they lose long enough and they don't really do anything with them, Tony Khan has the pockets to to sign some really good young talent from the WWE potentially still. So I think you're right.
The biggest thing with Swerve is, I mean, he was released. I don't see them releasing like Javon
Sure.
or Oba anytime soon. Swerve was like a guy in NXT, but he was a guy during the pandemic. He was the North American champion. He was tied to a group, which I don't think always helps you when you're tied to a group, because you almost come off as expendable in that way. And I'm not saying this is right by any means, but they look at that and it's like, oh, well, we can just replace you with somebody else in the group. I mean, look what they did with Fatal Influence. They just brought in Laney Reed. It's like, all right, we just use somebody else here. And then they got to the main roster, and this was at a time where they were budget cutting all the time, and they clearly didn't have any plans for him on the main roster. I don't think Vince was ever really going to use him. The fact that they're already putting Javon in these spots, they're already putting Oba in these spots, it's much different than Swerve, who, I mean, the biggest spot Swerve got was they did the performance on the NXT. Was it like Great American Bash where Hit Row did the performance, and that was during the PC days. Like they put Javon and Oba on John Cena's last match. Like they clearly they see something in these guys. I equate them more to a Braun Breaker type of they know they have something here. They're just biding their time with it until they decide to go into it more, go full bore into it more. I'm just saying you probably shouldn't wait on these guys. Like, just go ahead and continue to give them opportunities and give them big wins.
I'm with you, and I'm also with this. That's pretty cool. Sofa Kit 88. This little guy, this little dabbing guy. I didn't know they have those emotes, little dab emote. It's like maybe that's for Logan Paul, Logang. He did a lot of the double dabs. Speaking of, and I don't know if Dan's coming or if he's late or what's going on with Cabana Man Dan. So hopefully he joins us soon. But speaking of Logan Paul, Jake Paul fights tomorrow night, which is very interesting.
Are you one of those people who like think he has like a shot in this fight?
Oh,
you are. I can already. I think your hesitancy makes me know that you think he has a shot.
I think he has enough of a shot that it's potentially worth like throwing a little bit something on him to win.
Okay, that's a little bit different.
Fluke.
Yeah, that's a.
Oh no, do I think he's gonna win? Like, oh no, yeah. I'm not like choosing him to win. Like if it was like a life or death situation and I had to choose who I think is gonna win the fight, I would definitely take Joshua. Like I'm not. No, I'm not.
Right, how much did you put on him?
I actually haven't yet. I want to see what it's going to look like a little closer to the fight tomorrow. But there are little like prop things. Like I think like some of the outlets have like, pretty much like free squares on Joshua. It's like landing one punch. So I think that would actually be hilarious if Jake slept him in one punch, because like people would. It would be unlike anything we've ever witnessed in the history of sports gambling. Because you know what I mean? Like they're trying to give people a free money basically by saying like it's usually parlay based. So like you take Joshua to all you got to do is land one punch in the entire fight, but then of course like whatever else you take has to hit along with it, which you're juicing up your payout big time by having that free square. But technically you could still lose, because if Jake knocks him out before Joshua lands a punch, like that's almost happened in the UFC before. It was very close. Like a handful of months ago, there was a fight. I can't remember which one it was, but the free square guy got hit and dropped immediately. And I was like, oh my God, like if this guy doesn't land one punch, everyone's going to lose all their money. Anyway. I think that Jake Paul has knockout power. I think Jake could legitimately knock anybody out. I just don't think he's going to get the opportunity to really land on Joshua. I think Joshua's just, because this is different than And I've chose Jake most times against most of the people he's fought, but there's been certain guys like Anderson Silva, for instance. I'm pretty sure I was pretty confident Anderson would beat him before they fought and stuff. And like, there's been certain guys who I thought were gonna beat Jake, but I knew Jake had it. I thought Jake had more of a chance than most people gave him. But this fight, like, this is legitimately one of the best heavyweight fighters in the world, Anthony Joshua. Like, this is like, if Jake Paul actually beats him, like, no one can say anything about him not being a legitimate boxer or any, like, if Jake Paul beats him, he's legitimately a heavyweight championship contender. Like, but you know, I give Jake a lot of credit for having the balls to fight him. I don't know if you've seen them staring down next to one another. I mean, there's a humongous size difference. I mean, and this was supposed to originally be Jake versus Gervonta Davis. Isn't that what originally he was supposed to be? It was supposed to be here in Atlanta, and then like they wouldn't sanction it actually. And then I think Davis got in more like trouble with the law. That guy's got a whole bunch of stuff that he's not a good guy, probably. So anyway, like regardless, that's Jake was much larger than Gervonta, and now Josh was much larger than Jake. So Jake's got massive balls for even taking this fight.
I mean, I give him credit for taking the fight because this is the first actual guy he's fighting. He's made a career of fighting MMA fighters and Mike Tyson. I mean, the one kind of like real guy he fought, Tommy Fury, Tyson's brother. Like, he lost that fight. Jake's been boxing. He's been training. I think he has a better chance than like Conor McGregor did against Floyd Mayweather, because at least he's been training boxing for the past 5-6 years now, where McGregor was training MMA and then only trained boxing for however many months during the fight lead up, while Floyd was born with boxing gloves on his hands. So, and there's a big difference, Jensen, you know this, there's a huge difference between MMA striking and boxing, like a huge difference in just footwork and feints and head movement and everything. So yeah, just because McGregor had more overall combat sports experience than Jake Paul has, like Jake Paul has way more boxing experience, and I'm going to count that for more than McGregor's MMA experience translating into boxing. So I give him credit for taking the fight. I don't think he's going to win. I would imagine, I think it maybe goes 2 or 3 rounds. Joshua just kind of screws around a little bit. I mean, Floyd admitted he did that. Floyd was like, yeah, I was messing around for the first few rounds, and then I knew I could just put him away. I think he ended up beating Conor in like the 8th, 9th round or so. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like Floyd, that was Floyd's entire game. Joshua, because of heavyweights, you can put somebody down a lot quicker than whatever weight Conor and Floyd fought at. But I think he'll make it seem like it's a little competitive and then end up just blasting him.
Was it Joshua's last fight where he knocked out Tyson Fury? Or not Tyson Fury, Ngannou. Sorry, Ngannou and Fury fought. We got them mixed up. He knocked out Ngannou. And I guess I haven't been following boxing close enough recently, but I guess the main heavyweights are still Usyk, Fury, and Joshua. I think they're still the main three. I don't know. I don't think Wilder's really in that mix anymore with those guys.
Joshua lost his last fight to Daniel Dubois.
Okay. I forgot it. He was a big underdog, I think. I remember seeing the lines on that before the fight. Anyway.
And then Dubois fought Usyk, and Usyk beat him. Fury claimed he was retired, but now it seems like he's going to potentially fight Joshua next year and fight Usyk again next year. So who knows with Tyson Fury. But those are the names that I know are kind of at the top. And all these guys are older, too. Like, Usyk's 38, Joshua's 37, he's in his late 30s as well. Fury might be every bit of 40. So all these guys are like older. Like, they need some heavyweights that are kind of on the come. And I'm sure there are. I just don't follow it closely enough. Fury's 37, so I was wrong. He's not every bit of 30. But all these guys are like 37 or older, which is kind of old for boxing, unless you fight exhibition fights in the 60s or into your 60s. But yeah, I don't know who like the young heavyweights coming up really are at this point. But those are the three kind of big names who are still relatively active and largely just fighting each other.
I forgot about Andy Ruiz beating Anthony Joshua. That was like huge at the time. Then they rematched, right? I think I can't remember what happened in the rematch.
Yeah, Joshua won the rematch.
Joshua did win the rematch. Yeah. I remember for a while I thought that Deontay Wilder was going to be like the man for a while, just because he had so much raw talent. By the way, Dan said he's on the way. He got Eastern time mixed up with Central time. I thought because the thing with Deontay Wilder was I liked watching him fight because he would knock people out so early. Like he was taking people out like in the really early rounds of the fights, and he was clearly like by far not the most skilled guy. Like he was doing it off of like athleticism and like power. And I was just like, man, when this guy like learns how to actually box, like he's going to be completely unstoppable. But I think he's fallen off a little bit. But we do have a guest joining us right now, everybody, a returning guest. Dare I say a friend of the show? I think if you've been on the show for at least three times, you're considered a friend of the show. This is a guy who I've been a fan of for a long time. He's been wrestling for like 25 years. I've been a big fan of his, especially over the last decade or so. He has his retirement match coming up this Saturday on the 20th. It's the Dumpster Divers Holiday Special for New South Pro Wrestling at the venue in Gadsden, Alabama. We are joined by Cabana Man Dan. CMD, how you doing, man?
How you doing?
I'm good. Is my feed coming in properly?
Yes, you sound good and you look good, Dan. Everything is clear.
Awesome. I'm trying to look like y'all.
Well, hey, we appreciate you. I don't know. I know we had the time. The time was off, so I don't know if you're in a good spot where you can talk for 10, 15 minutes, or if you were in the middle of something. But we appreciate you being able to call in.
Oh no problem. I'm parked in a good place. And I forgot that y'all are on that pesky Eastern time. I'm on Alabama time, so a little bit slower. So it's all good. Well,
we appreciate it once again. And as I mentioned, you do have your career wrapping up this weekend. It's going to be the Dumpster Divers, of course, yourself and Dump Sanders taking on the Talladega Knights, and Hunter Drake and Tyler Franks, two guys that I know you've said yourself you saw them as like fans, like watching the show when they were like basically kids. Yeah. What's it mean I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts, and we like to hear all your thoughts on your retirement coming up, but especially would like to know kind of the thought, because obviously you could have chosen really anybody for this retirement match to be in the ring with, I feel like, given the things that you've contributed and what you've meant to New South. So for the Talladega Knights to be the opponents, and of course for Dump to be the partner, what was kind of the mindset behind all that?
I mean, it's perfect in a sense that I get to tag with my best friend and partner, and we've been on a great tag run for almost 2 years and have had the belts for it'll be a year this month, if not on the 20th, because we won them at the holiday special last year. And it's perfect because you get to tag with your best friend, you get to wrestle two people, so you get to use this match to have as many moments as possible with people that you have a lot of respect for. And it's not just a singles match. You get to tag matches are quite the roller coaster. So I think that's going to be really fun to do. And with Tyler and Hunter, I mean, they had the same story as I do. They started out as backyard wrestlers. They started coming to New South. They trained with us. They went off to Dr. Tom for finishing school and came back and became tag team champions 3 times. And both of them have been New South champions themselves. And then, now they're contracted talent to the NWA. I mean, they go from the backyard to a national stage, and I couldn't be prouder to share the ring with those two guys as the final match.
Yeah.
How are you? Oh, go ahead, Jensen.
Oh no, yeah, Jeremy. I was just gonna agree. I thought when I found out that was the matchup, I was like, this is perfect. And we've had both, whether you want to call them all business or all beef, if you want to go back, Tyler Franks and Hunter Drake. Those guys have been on this show a couple times as well, and watching, like you said, watching their careers. I'm sure you have such a cool perspective on that because, like you said, they've had so much success as a tag team and individually. Sorry, Jeremy, what was your question?
I was just saying, like, just how are you feeling about everything going into Saturday and the decision to step away?
I don't know yet. I'll be honest, like watching the video package for the announcement of the final match, like the more I watch it, I get like 5% more emotional. So I'm feeling like day of the show, it's gonna hit. Being in the ring, seeing friends, family, and then the crowd's gonna hit. So I mean, everything's gonna hit. It's gonna hit hard Saturday. Like that, I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be very emotional one way or the other. But it got to a point where it's like I can keep going, but it's like for why? I've accomplished everything I've ever wanted to do in wrestling, and then so much more. I've even worked a TV taping a couple weeks ago, and that was something I've never done before. So it's like I literally have done everything I've wanted to do, and it's like my wife has been she's been living my dream since 2005. She's recently graduated from college. It's like that's a journey that she's had for a decade too, just because, we didn't have the money to do it. So we take classes here, classes there. But long story short, I want to turn the keys over to my family and let them live their dream. We want to move. We want to sell our house. They've been living my dream long enough. It's time to live our dream as a family.
Speaking of family, just because you haven't been on the show since, would you like to let everybody know how the cakewalk and everything went since the last time you were on here?
I wanted to rip my own head off that day. Like everything that could go wrong did, but as far as a success, we were able to raise, like, it's not going to sound like a lot. We were able to raise $40 for every kid to go towards their dance competition fees. Now, when you stretch that out over 30 plus kids, yeah, that's pretty good. So we were very happy with that. It's like my car's engine blew that day. The people installing the bounce house busted a water main. But the best thing about it was Big Dave and Richard Holiday fought in a bounce house, and we had the cakewalk. People liked it. Like, I just don't know if people knew what we were doing yet. It was the first time we ever did like a fall festival and wrestling show, and there was a much larger, more established fall festival the next town up that everybody knows about. So that definitely kind of hurt us, but we laid some great groundwork to keep doing it. And they want to do it again. So, you only learn from doing it over and over again. So we definitely want to do that again.
Very cool.
And thank y'all for sponsoring the cakewalk as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're happy. I mean, it's awesome to know that those kids got money coming out of that.
Yes.
$40 that's actually huge for, like, that's very cool that you guys did a really good thing, and it looked like a lot of fun. I saw like a lot of pictures and stuff online the day it was happening and stuff, and you guys did a good thing. Jeremy, did you have a follow up about the cakewalk? Because I did have another question.
I was just gonna say it sucks that it sounds like so much went wrong, but hearing Big Dave and Richard Holiday fighting in the bouncy house sounds very fun. No, my follow up wasn't necessarily going to be to the cakewalk. It was going to kind of circle back to Saturday, and I don't know if you have a finish in mind, but are you a little disappointed that you can no longer smile and tap out because that finish was just used?
Well, here's the deal. Cabana Man Dan has given up before, so we don't have to worry about that. I give up a lot actually, so it's okay. So,
That's hilarious. Did you have any thoughts on the Cena retirement
yeah,
or like and also on as well, like it sounds like a lot of people are going to be retired, like people are, AJ Styles is going to be retiring next year, and like a lot of guys that have been around for a long time, like yourself, that have been in the business for 20 plus years. So yeah, what's it like seeing like those guys going out as well now?
I mean, Cena going out, you have AJ, and then there says something about Brock. I mean, it's even on the indie levels too. I mean, you see guys like Kerry Awful, Derek Neal saying they're going to start slowing down next year, which that could be a damn lie because I know those crazy guys. But like, even on the local scene, like I can't name everybody, but I've seen like Southeastern veterans, maybe not the most known yet, retire. Like it's just kind of it'll pop up on my Facebook feed that hey, this was so and so's last match, or boots in the ring at a lot of different indie shows at the end of this year. So it just take advantage of the veterans you have in your locker rooms because Father Time is undefeated and nobody's doing this forever except for Mike Jackson. That's the only one.
Actually, right, yeah.
But there's just a lot of people hanging it up this year. Maybe it's always like that, but it's like when you buy a car and everybody else has the same car after you buy one. Maybe after I announce my retirement, it just seems like you see everybody else retiring too. I don't know.
I did want to ask you, and this might be a really hard one to answer. Maybe it's really easy. I don't know. Do you have like a favorite opponent throughout your career?
Oh yeah. Especially singles. This is Derek Neal.
Okay.
We've fought so many times, and each match is different. And we bring the best out of each other. He definitely brings the best out of me. But that really is it. Like the first time we met in a match was when I lost the title to him at, I think, Anniversary 7 back in 2020, because New South started back whenever during COVID before I decided to come back and be champion. And that was the first time I had been back, and New South had been running a few shows before I came back. So that was the first time I ever really locked up with Derek. And that was that match. And then our rematches, and then the leather strap match that we had, our Tampa WrestleMania week match is my favorite match of all time. Just because we both went out there to prove a point that we were the best of the best. And we wanted to go out there, tell a story, make each other look good, make each other look as real as possible. And that's just what we did every time, but especially then. And then our last match that we had as a singles was at Retinal in Birmingham, and it was during the middle of summer in a warehouse at a brewery. It was about 100 degrees in there, and then we went 20 plus minutes in the heat. And it was the first time I thought I was going to be done with life. So it was nice. Our last actual match was a 4-way elimination match with all Haas winners, with me, Derek, Big Dave, and Richard Holiday. So that was a nice thing to have, as one more tussle.
Which of the matches did you say you liked the best? That was your favorite of all time with Derek? Because I know you guys had the match at was it family reunion after the pandemic, and there was also the leather strap match, which was one of my favorites as well. What did you say you had a preference between them?
No, it's the one in Tampa for WrestleMania week.
Okay.
That's was it even a WrestleMania week? Yeah, it had to be.
Because what I was thinking of, because you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys wrestled. Cause I remember they did because two of my favorite matches you've ever had were both at family reunion shows. One of them was you, Brickster, aka Glove Daddy, and O'Shea Edwards versus VIF and Brett Ison. Brett Ison was the Bonestorm champ at the time. Yes. That was at the Collective, and that was the Subgraps match, and that had to have been like 2019 because I was in Nashville still. The pandemic happened, so there was no family reunion. Then 2021, y'all would have been back. That would have been you and Derek Neal. Yep.
Absolutely. And I was like in the best shape of my life too then. Like I had abs and everything. I was like the slimmest I ever was. Like we both went out there, especially in my mind, we both went out there to wrestle for a job. And like the next day, I actually had DMs on Twitter then, wanting to get more information to get in that WWE system. Now, that's always great, but when the first question is how old are you and how tall are you, I go shit. Okay, well I'm 36 and 5'3". Okay, cool. We're so that's nice.
We'll keep you in mind.
Yeah, but it did lead to extra work, and that's always a good thing. Getting a paycheck is good, and having a chance to do something on Raw or SmackDown is always good. Um, so that's good, and not passing physical for their standards also sucks. So it is what it is.
Is that something where like you'd keep would you keep kind of your options open, like hypothetically, like if WWE or AEW like wanted extras and like people knew you were around and like just so you can like continue to be involved even if you're not like out there wrestling in the ring?
Yeah, absolutely. I had just talked to somebody the other day about when AEW is coming back to Huntsville. That's probably about as far as I go. Is just maybe not with WWE because they know I'm not going to be able to do anything, but it's just it's different levels of standards, I guess, for whatever. Because I'm not considered injured. They just don't want something to happen, I guess, because I'm
Sure.
able to do whatever. But no, I don't think that would stop me from trying to like be an extra for AEW or whatever. Because it's still cool to be like they still need experienced people to be in segments and people who can portray whatever they want, whatever mood they want. So that would be something I could still do.
Someone who has the toughness to absorb a unprotected bell shot to the head in the basement east.
Yes.
That's my other. By the way, I was wanted to tell you my favorite matches of your career while we were here. Maybe
Sure.
Maybe my favorite match will wind up being this weekend in your retirement. But my other favorite match, of course, on top of the ones I just mentioned, is that tag team match, you and Marco versus Dominic Garrini and Kevin Koo, that death match, where you got hit with that bell. But I mean, I know I bring that up all the time, and it was just because I was in the building and I'd never experienced it like that before.
Right.
But like it's one of those things where beyond that, the match itself, I actually rewatched it earlier today, and just wanted to let you know, as a huge fan of Southern Underground Pro, you were one of the main reasons I think for people to be a fan of the company. You were one of the top, good guys in that company. And, that match I think that's one of my favorite matches I've ever witnessed live. And so if you have any more, I don't know. I know we've talked about that match before on the show, but if you have anything else that you'd want to add to that, maybe memories from Southern Underground Pro, that match, Marco, VIF, really anything that has to do with that.
No, Southern Underground Pro was my home away from home. I feel like my character shouldn't have gotten popular there. That everything that happened with me there was 100% organic. I just showed up and helped set the ring up, and they had a carload cancel, so they had some spots in the scramble. Same thing happened again the next time, and then next time, and everything just kind of built from there. And it's like, oh, they like Dan here, so I really miss it. I really miss the energy of Basement East. It's just a different vibe than anywhere else that I've worked. I mean, obviously, New South's my home. The energy there is always amazing, but when you're not having to run the show and you can focus on just wrestling and just leave, just passion and everything else, you don't have 20,000 things going on at the same time that you're in charge of. You can just enjoy being like an artist of pro wrestling. And, I've had a lot of really fun matches there. I've been knocked out in the Basement East a lot, and that sucks. But now that's probably like the most talked about match in sub history, just because of just the craziness of it. They didn't really do hardcore. They definitely didn't do blood at that time, and it was a long built program, and that was 8 months in the making. That goes even way before the first family reunion. So it really culminated into something special. And I don't do hardcore often, so that makes it special too.
And it wasn't just hardcore. Like, you're kind of selling yourself short. Like, that was a full-on death match. I mean, there were skewers, there were
Yes.
attacks to the bare feet. I mean,
Yeah.
there was everything. I'll never forget. And this is inside baseball, and I probably shouldn't even say this, but I'm just going to say it. I don't even care. I'll never forget. I was standing there in the basement east before that match started, and little Marco Stunt walked by me. I was standing next to Mose and the Sobros guys. We were standing there talking before the match started. We were up by the stage in the basement east, and little Marco Stunt walked past us with tape in his hand and went up to the stage and was just like, "When you see me come this way, just get out of the way." We were like, "Okay, well, that's where you put the blade," because
okay.
he went to that spot. The next thing I knew, I had Marco's blood on my flip flops. That kid, I say kid, he was. And then I look over, and you're the same. I mean, it's like you guys. I think you said that's the first time you had done that. I think also in your whole career. But I'll never forget that, just being like, what did Marco just hide there? And he just told us to make sure we got out of the way. Like, I wonder how, because also on that same show before intermission, they did Alley Cat versus Brett Eisen for the Bone Storm title. And I remember talking to Mose on the deck in between matches at intermission. And I was like, that's kind of wild they did, because Alley Cat was, the heart and soul of Sup and Brett was champion. And I was like, why was that before intermission? Like, what are they going to do? And Mose was like, dude, I'm hearing some wild shit about the main event. Like, I think they're saving a lot for it. And I was,
I mean, they didn't really advertise it as even a hardcore match, period. It was just no disqualification.
Yeah.
So the expectation was very low, because we didn't say, hey, we're going to have this death match or even a hardcore match or even a street fight. Just, no disqualification, no holds barred. Okay, whatever. And then, holy shit, this is crazy,
Yeah. Oh, man. I'll never forget it. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was gonna say, I know this might be a semi-loaded question, but like looking back on everything, you mentioned favorite opponent, favorite matches, but what is, if you can narrow it down to one or two or three, four things, like the most proudest thing you are most proud of throughout your career?
There's two things, and they're New South related. I mean, so I'm going to have some New South stuff, and I'm going to have some not New South stuff. So the New South stuff is definitely winning the Haas tournament in 2019. That was probably one of the roughest weekends I had, because I had a match on Friday, 2 matches on Saturday, very physical match, like going through tables, getting power bombed on the apron, multiple power bombs by Baron Black. Winning that with like an avalanche sliced bread, that's a bad bump too. And then the next day is when I had to have a singles match with Dominic Greeny. So that, I'm very proud of that weekend, because those were really big matches for me. Another big one would be whenever me and Dump won the first tag team title match, and it was like a TLC match or a ladder match against some other teams. And it was a huge packed house. And I just remember being on this 20-foot ladder, and I get this briefcase that's going to, have the belts in it, because they weren't done yet. But I just remember climbing that and grabbing the briefcase, and then like looking down, and people literally look like ants. And that's the biggest pop I've ever had in my career, was then. And you could literally feel everybody's shouts and their decibels bouncing off your body. Like, it was wild. And then I saw 2 friends from high school in the crowd that I didn't know was going to be there. And that really popped me too. And it's special to me because one of my friends there is no longer with us. So I always think about that moment being really special because of that. And that's probably my 2 favorite, my 2 most proudest moments was winning the tag match, because it was really good. And there was a moment where Dump caught a stray elbow to the eyebrow and was just bleeding buckets. And the match almost had to stop because he's just drenching blood. And they had to get him to the back. So now it's like me versus a tag team of AJ Gray and Prince Apollo and the Violent Gentleman. And it's like, but I still, it still came out on top. It was a cool story that we didn't know was going to happen with that one.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
And as far as like not New South related moments. All I ever wanted to do getting into wrestling, I was heavily inspired and motivated by Chikara Pro. All I wanted to do was wrestle for Chikara. And in 2006, they invited me up for the Young Lions Cup. And I was like, well, shit, I made it. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And then, I wrestled the Young Lions Cup against Chuck Taylor and got put out by him. And then the next night wrestled Mitch Ryder, and we got to have a Southern match in Chikara. That was great. And, coming back to Alabama, I was like, well, I've done everything I wanted to do. And I think I had wrestled Quackenbush either before or after that or whatever. And that was a big deal for me too, because, him versus Amazing Red was the match I watched live in New Jersey when I was a teenager, and they inspired me to become a professional wrestler.
The last question I've got, back then when you were becoming a pro wrestler, I mean, you started all the way back in like 2001, correct?
Yes. October 2001 was like the first time I took bumps in a ring.
What's the biggest difference between wrestling now and wrestling when you started 25 years ago?
I mean, I think it's just the instant access to everything. That's got to be the biggest difference. I mean, I know Noah Tall on Facebook. I don't know if you follow him, do you?
That name sounds familiar. I don't want to...
I think he took one of my stories I was talking to him about, and it was like, I started in 2001. I had to send VHS tapes to promoters. I had to print out my directions on MapQuest. There's no smartphones. There's no social media. Social media, it changed wrestling. The internet changed. I mean, Mike Jackson will tell you the internet killed wrestling, but I think it made it more accessible, and I think it gave a lot more people more opportunities because you could get your stuff out there in a heartbeat. So I think that's the biggest difference.
I guess my real last question is also, did you think when you started in 2001, like you'd be having a retirement match all the way in 2025? That's a long time to be out there wrestling.
God, no. I didn't think. I mean, like my first real run was I had my first match in February 2002, and then I had my last match in December of 2010 before I got hurt for a while, and I didn't really plan on ever coming back. Like, I didn't enjoy the scene. I wasn't getting booked anywhere. It was not fun. I was by myself. And it's not fun being in wrestling whenever you have no friends or people who hop in the car. And then in 2016, when New South invited me to, invited me out because we already knew each other, he said, "Hey man, we're doing something cool. We'd love to have you just check us out." And from 2016 to now, it's like a second career. And I've achieved everything I've ever wanted to from 2016 to now. Like, the first time just kind of felt like unfinished business, and there were some different appearances here and there between 2010 and 2016, but from 2016 to now it was everything I've ever wanted. Not perfect, but everything I wanted.
Well, Dan, we appreciate your graciousness over these last few years joining us. You've been, what's it, at least the third time you've been on the show.
Yeah. Sure. This could be number 4, I think.
It might be because you were in the chat when we were talking to Big Dave.
Yes.
Yeah. So, regardless, you, as Jensen said at the top of the show, like, we consider you a friend of the show. We appreciate, again, your kindness and the memories you've given us over the years. And yeah, I was not a big independent wrestling fan outside of kind of the top stuff before Jensen and I started doing this show. He has very much turned me on to the southern scene there in Georgia and Tennessee and everything. So I've gotten to know you more over the past few years working with Jensen and you coming on the show, and I've become a bigger fan of you over the past few years. And yeah, I just appreciate, and I think I speak for Jensen as well, like, your kindness to us over these last few years and all the memories that you've given us throughout your entire career.
No, you're welcome. If there's anything that I've can add to what I've done for myself, is what I've wanted to do for others and what I wanted to do for the entire scene, whether it's not just Southeast, but especially like Alabama in general, it's like it's like a ghost town whenever it comes to people talking about the Alabama area. And I always think about whenever Dylan Hales was doing commentary for versus me versus oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart. But the SCI I was in, there was a fella from I think St. Louis Anarchy. The name's slipped my
Was it
mind. But
Gary
anyways,
J?
who?
Gary
No,
J? I
no,
was
it
thinking St.
wasn't.
Louis Anarchy. Who would have come out of there?
He's a long time vet too, like probably longer than me. Jeremy Wyatt.
Oh yeah. Jared with the
Yep.
robe and everything. I hadn't seen him in a
Yeah, that
while.
match. I like that match a
Yeah.
lot too. But there's a moment in the match that that sticks out where Dylan Hales says that Cabana Man Dan's like the godfather of Alabama wrestling. He brought it back from the dead, and that's something I'm very proud of. It's not been dead. It's just there hasn't been a reason for people to talk about it until more recently, and I want to keep that energy up because I'm not retiring from the business of wrestling. I'm retiring from active competition and the bumps and the pain and if I can't go at a certain level, I want to step aside. Not that I think I'm there quite yet, but CMD's fingers are going to be in the pie at New South from forever. And that's my goal, is to continue showing that we're the best in the South. That's what we go by. But especially in Alabama, if we're the best, period.
Well, it's good to know that you're going to still be around and helping out, because obviously, I don't know how much longer Derek Neal will be around, as you mentioned, but obviously another guy who's would be huge, the two of y'all continuing to help out, because you guys do have such a bright future with the people around, your opponents this weekend, Tyler Franks and Hunter Drake, girls like Kenzie Page and stuff, people who have been a part of that company or gone through that company that are doing really, really good stuff. And I think that it's good to know as a fan. I like knowing that you're going to continue helping them out for that next generation. I think it's going to be very useful for them.
Yes, and you'll still see me. I'll be at the ticket booth selling tickets, man. If someone's got to sweep the floor, someone's got to take the ring down, I'm usually the last one to leave. And I don't plan on that really changing either, because I love being a part of wrestling. I've never felt too good to do anything that somebody else can't do in wrestling. So yeah, and then the show that this weekend is going to be kind of like a love letter from me to the people that want to come there. Like, a lot of people are coming to see my last match, but I want to make sure that every other match means something. And that's why we do the video packages online. That's why, we're all involved to make sure that everybody knows that everything on this show Saturday is important.
When people can find, you guys have a lot of stuff hyping up the entire event. I know on your social media, on the New South Pro Wrestling social media, please let everybody know the best ways to continue to follow you and to help support.
Yeah. Facebook, it's just, is facebook.com/New South Pro Wrestling. But the title of the Facebook page is just New South. Instagram and Twitter is New South_PW. Those are the best ways to do that. And when I get off, maybe if y'all are still doing some more show after this.
Yeah, we'll be on for a little bit longer.
Okay, maybe I can shoot Jeremy a couple links if y'all can put video in. I don't know if y'all have the technology, but there's a couple packages that I think are really special.
Yeah, send them over to me, and we can play them on the show. That shouldn't
Awesome.
be an issue at all. I don't know
Perfect.
why it would be.
I didn't know how that worked with StreamYard.
Nah, I got it.
As long as we can get it out, that's awesome.
Yeah, I got you.
And thank you, Dan, for everything over the years, man.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the show or everything you've done in the ring, or behind the scenes, or whatever it has been for these years, I appreciate it. And it's going to be a bittersweet feeling as a fan watching you leave those flip-flops in the ring one last time. But congratulations on a great run, man.
To be able to walk upright away from it all is always a good thing. We'll see. I'm gonna put out some crazy shit I hadn't done in a long time, because I ain't got to wrestle again. I'm doing it all. I'm unloading the clip. Those boys better be ready. So.
I love to hear it. Well, thanks again, Dan.
Yeah.
Stay in touch, by the way. Stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Enjoying your retirement, man.
I feel like I'm going to be just as busy, so it's okay.
Cool. Good deal. Good deal. All right, man. Well, you have a good night, and
Yes.
everybody make sure to support Dan, support New South. And the match is this weekend, this Saturday, for New South Pro Wrestling. We got the Dumpster Divers versus the Talladega Knights. One last time for that matchup. One last time for the Dumpster Divers as a tag team. I mean, this is it. If you're a fan of these guys, Gadsden, Alabama, the venue.
That's right. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks,
I'll be in touch.
Yeah,
you never know.
Links.
I'll text you the links on your X account.
Yeah, send me those, and you're welcome on the show anytime. Send me a message, send Jensen a message, be like, hey, can I come on and talk about stuff? You're more than welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll talk about other people next.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. If you guys got stuff going on in New South or anything else that you're involved with, anyone you want to spotlight, any kids coming up that maybe just getting started, whoever it is, like anyone you want to throw our way, or you want to come on yourself, man, just let us know. You're always welcome, and so are your people, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Haas weekend's right around the corner. It'll be here before you know it. So that's always a big one for us too.
Perfect.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Dan. There
Peace.
You go.
See you, Dan.
Everybody. Cabana Man Dan, friend of the show, been on multiple times. Once he sends me those videos, I will play those. Probably play them near the end of the show or between kind of topics, because
we'll see when they come in. I know we got to hit AEW. We don't have another spotlight today, and my other indie spotlight is going to be very brief, so like we're not going to keep you guys for like a whole other hour, but just
our other spotlight was basically Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua at this point.
Yeah, it just worked out to accidentally be that. You just didn't get the sound clip ahead of time with the bumper.
All right, here we go with AEW.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
MJF made his return to AEW last night on Dynamite. He confronted Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, Swerve Strickland, inserted himself, cashed in his Casino Gauntlet contract to insert himself into the title match at World's End to make it a 4-way. And then he kind of went off on the 3 men in the ring. He told Hangman that he is going to cash in because he wants to show that he is not a coward, and he wants to look Hangman in the face and beat him and beat his 2 biggest enemies, and it basically rubbed that into his face. He told Joe he still hates him from what he did for taking his title 2 years ago at World's End, and he needs to beat him because the fans decide who is an all-time great, and he needs that title to prove that he is an all-time great. And then he went on at Swerve Strickland, comparing him to P. Diddy, referencing his WWE career, and then saying that rent is due and it is his house. What did you make of MJF's return and the promo, Jensen?
Good promo, but I mean, that's always to be expected for MJF. A little bit different of a look. Hair was a little different.
Hair was, it was there. Like he did something to it. Yeah. He looked like, so I actually, during my lunch break today from work, I hung out on my couch and actually watched Sean's interview with MJF. Okay. And he had talked about how he had eaten a bunch of edibles that day before the interview with Sean. And that's not surprising, because the first thing that I thought when I saw MJF on Dynamite, because like his face, there was something like, I don't want to say something was off about him, but I was like, that dude looks, I couldn't tell if he was tired or stoned, but it might have been both, because it sounded like his travel schedule has been completely insane. So like, great interview, by the way. I would highly recommend everyone check that out over on the Fightful main YouTube channel. It was a rare interview where MJF like really wasn't in character. Like you actually got some like real answers from the guy, which you rarely get in interviews. So I thought that interview was really good. I thought the promo last night was good. I don't like the stipulation where like you have to give a week's notice with their cash in, but you know, they're sticking to that. And
I do like how MJF explained why he's doing this in a 4-way match, because otherwise that would have been the big question of like, MJF of all people, why would you lessen your odds of becoming the champion? Also, they didn't clarify if it was an elimination match or just like first fall, like fatal 4-way. So I prefer if it was elimination, but I'm assuming it'll be a fatal 4-way match. And I also, sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be a fatal 4-way as well.
And I also think that it's very possible that Joe loses the title again already to MJF. I don't love the idea of Samoa Joe just being kind of like a quote unquote transitional champion, because if they do that, the way that my mind works is like, well, they didn't want, for whatever reason, they didn't want to do, MJF. They want MJF as the champion potentially, but they didn't want to have MJF beat Hangman right now. And they're going to wait to do MJF and Hangman as a singles match for later on as like a big main event of a pay-per-view months from now, which is what I think they're going to still end up doing that. But in that scenario, like, it's very possible MJF is the world champion. Hangman is trying to get the title from MJF at that point. Also, I think Darby Allin will be in that mix if he can stay healthy enough. I think that that's way more questionable now than it was, pre-Everest trip. Like before, like when Darby lost his title shot to Mox, before Mox, beat Danielson and started the whole Death Riders thing, it was pretty obvious that the end game was Darby eventually becoming the AEW World Champion. But now it's like he keeps getting injured and like he's done other stuff. And I think he's still like very committed to AEW. Like when you hear his interviews, he very much loves it. And like I don't really have concerns about Darby's like commitment to pro wrestling, but I think that AEW and Tony Khan could potentially be getting cold feet as far as like them putting like the world title on Darby anytime soon for those reasons, when they also have such a stacked roster where it's like you don't really have to risk it with Darby because you have Hangman, you have Joe, you got MJF, you got Swerve, you got Ospreay coming back at some point. Like you've got a really strong main event scene already. And that's what I think they're kind of going with, because eventually we're all figuring that Ospreay will win the title at Wembley as long as he's back and healthy. So along the way, they have all the people I just mentioned, to kind of carry that main event scene, mainly because you have not just this 4-way match. You're going to get singles matches between the combination of those 4 guys also probably for the next, handful of months. Because like obviously we're going to get an MJF versus Swerve match. We're going to get an MJF versus Hangman. We could get MJF versus Joe again, even if they wind up both being heels, because Joe, of course, beat MJF to win Joe's first AEW World Championship. Also, it's worth mentioning that MJF's promo wasn't that heelish. Like he was getting kind of a babyface reaction, and also with Sean's interview today and he acted a lot more along the lines of how he was acting when he was a babyface, when he was doing the stuff with Adam Cole, the Better Than You Baby, when he was doing more, when he was being nicer to fans and doing more interviews and kind of pandering more to the crowd. Even in Sean's interview, he mentions like even though they're all schmucks and marks, like, I do appreciate the fans because without them, like I can't be in the position I'm in. So it's like a lot of that points to like, is MJF even a heel going forward? I feel like he kind of has to be, because you would assume, especially if he becomes a champion, his immediate challengers would be Swerve, who's a babyface, Hangman, who's a babyface, Darby, who's a babyface. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of it. I was very surprised that MJF cashed in for a 4-way match, but I think he did a good job explaining it last night, his reasonings for it. And at the time of this live stream, I think my prediction is going to be MJF to win that match.
I'm also predicting MJF. I actually said yesterday before the return that I thought he was going to return last night, and I laid out the scenario exactly how they did it, and I think he's going to win the title because the Dynamite Diamond ring winner will get a title shot in January, and I think MJF will ask that the Dynamite Diamond Ring be put on the line since he doesn't have another way to get to it, and they love that gimmick of him having the Diamond Ring. So that's how I kind of foresee this playing out. I thought it was a very good promo. I did like the explanation was, very good because you wouldn't think of, okay, why would he do a 4-way, but he explained it. And then he went at everybody, and I thought that was great. I could have lived without the Diddy line just because
I'm with you.
It's okay. You're doing your edgelord thing, like sure, let's reference Diddy. At least it was kind of original because I don't think anybody like really thought of Swerve and Diddy as a comparison. So I'll give them.
There's really nothing common between them at all, except for and one thing, and that's why it's edgy, I guess. I could have totally done with that. Listen, I like MJF and I like him pushing the boundaries. I'm a big MJF guy, but like that was why I kind of cringed at that myself.
See, I think MJF is very good, and I do generally enjoy his promo. I think this promo is an example of like why you didn't need to do something like that. You already did such a great promo, and you almost take away from it by doing something like this. Like, I think he's good enough to not do this kind of stuff. He just does it. And I'm like, is it necessary? I find myself asking that a lot with MJF promos. And in this part, I didn't think that particular line was necessary. I also didn't love that everybody just stood there and was like, all right, MJF has said his words and we are not going to retort at all. At least Joe showed some fire, got up in his face, was, kind of laughing with Hook and being like, this dude, like, I'm not taking this guy serious. And again, he showed some fire on things when he needed to. So at least Joe did a little bit of that. Hangman kind of played things off of like, I still don't really buy you as credible. I still think you're fake. Like, so I can kind of forgive him, although I wish I would have seen a little bit more considering he's technically your top baby face. And if he's not your top babyface, Swerve is your top babyface, and he calls himself the most dangerous man, and he just stood there as MJF ripped him to shreds and didn't interrupt him once. I know there was a no physicality rule, so he couldn't, punch him in the mouth, but I would think that the guy who says he's the most dangerous man would be fed up with a guy saying, your career is nothing compared to mine. You were twerking for top dollar. You are P. Diddy, and now rent is due. Why are you just standing here when he is going in at you like this?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. They kind of all just kind of got served, and then like didn't serve them back, so like it wasn't on. You know what I mean? This kind of like MJF really like went one by one. Because even like it would have even made sense for all three of them to beat him down, even though they don't like one another. It's like, okay, let's all just kick this guy's ass, like, and then we'll deal with each other. But I also think that's going to kind of play into the match, where like MJF's going to somehow get this win, maybe because of something like that. You know what I mean? Like he's so good at like getting people to like get thrown off their own games because of his head games and stuff. Like he's going to somehow get a situation where like Hangman and Swerve get in like a. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be some sort of storyline tie-in, I think, between like Hangman and Swerve in the end of this match, and MJF somehow being the one who wins. So it's going to cause more friction between Swerve and Hangman again. And like, I don't know how Joe figures into all of this if MJF becomes the champion again, but I do like Joe a lot, and I like the Ops. So it's like I think AEW is in a really, really good spot with their main event scene. Like, is really at the end of the day what the big message here is, honestly, is everyone I'm mentioning is a great wrestler. They're all going to have great matches, whether it's a 4-way match or individual matches. Like, so they set themselves up well, and MJF got a big reaction for his return. He looks great. He's always been awesome in the ring. So like it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it. I guess the only downside is like in a 4-way match. Obviously, like they can. It's very unlikely to me that MJF's going to be like if he wins, he's just going to be like the definitive winner. Like it's going to, So we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the indie spotlight. Cabana Man Dan was one indie spotlight, and now we have another one.
I'm gonna give a big motherfucking shout out.
Bear Bronson won the Nick Gage Invitational, which is the deathmatch tournament from GCW. And he also won, I know this isn't technically any of the spotlight, but he also just won the Battle Royal to earn a TNA World title shot. So big couple of days for Bear Bronson.
Yes, very much so. So obviously it's cool tie in there with our bumper there, Nick Gage, bringing in the NGI talk here. So yeah, Bear Bronson, this was his first real like deathmatch tournament. At least that's kind of how they were talking it up on commentary. Obviously he's done a lot of death matches recently, but I think this is his first real tournament. Shout out to our boy Mose, who was on commentary for the NGI. We were talking to Cabana Man Dan earlier about the SUP-GRAP days, Southern Underground Pro in Nashville. I remember like over the years, Mose talking about like how he wanted to call more death matches in wrestling, and now he's getting to call the NGI, which is huge. So that was really cool to hear him on commentary during the tournament. And in the first round, it was Bear Bronson over Slade, and these matches were crazy. Like I really can't do justice explaining this stuff. I mean, if you're a deathmatch fan, you kind of have an idea of like kind of what to expect. If you don't watch this stuff on a regular basis, you're going to be a mixture of like either your mind's going to be completely blown or you're going to be completely disgusted or like shocked or terrified. There's going to be a wide range of potential emotions if you have never seen one of these matches or one of these tournaments, especially one of the tournaments, because these guys get cut up and bloody and objects all piercing through their bodies, and like then they come out for a second match and do it again, and a third match. By the end of these tournaments, they're literally just taping their bodies together, going out there already bleeding, and doing it some more. Throughout this tournament, and I think the first match was the one for Bear Bronson in the tournament. It was Slade. They had done like power bombs onto cinder blocks. I think Bear Bronson gave him like a power bomb onto like light tubes on top of a shopping cart, I think was like the finish or around the end of the match. So that's how Bear Bronson advanced to the second round, took on Jack Harrop, he's a guy from the UK who I haven't seen too much of. He's actually pretty new, but he's been making more of a name for himself in the deathmatch scene in the UK recently. He upset Drew Parker in the first round of the NGI, one of the best deathmatch wrestlers in the world. So we had Jack Harrop versus Bear Bronson in the second round. I'm pretty sure the finish of that one was the frog splash off the top and like a sandwiched door kind of thing. And then the finals, we had Bear Bronson over Otis Kogar, and the finish of that was a Baldo bomb through a bundle of light tubes for the three. So on top of winning the NGI tournament, that sets up Bear Bronson for a shot at the GCW World Championship against Atticus Kogar, who is, of course, the brother of Otis, who he beat in the finals tournament finals. So that's going to be, I think, February 1st, I think was the date that I saw on that, where it's going to be Bear Bronson challenging for the GCW Championship against Atticus. My prediction there, early prediction, is that Atticus will probably retain, but it is worth mentioning that Bear Bronson is on quite the run right now. I know, as you mentioned, TNA, but on top of that, he's like been really hitting the indies all over the place. I know him and Gabby Forza. Gabby's been doing really well as well. I mean, like really blowing up, both of them recently all over the place. I saw Gabby, I think, training with Natty, or was going to train with Natty soon, which is really cool. So keep a lookout for both of them right now all over the place. But congratulations to Bear Bronson. Like, I don't expect him to become the GCW champion because Atticus is so kind of fresh into his run with the title, and they built it for so long for him to win it. But I'm definitely not counting Bear Bronson out. Like, he's been really, really impressive since leaving AEW.
He's been on a really great run on the independent scene. I know he's talked about it, but him wanting to just kind of reinvent himself and show that he could do more as a singles guy. And as I loved him in AEWs with our guy Jack Jameson, and I thought they had a really fun act. But he wanted to just do more. He wanted to kind of just branch out and just kind of show a different side of himself. And like, he jumped right into the deathmatch stuff, and that's not an easy thing to jump into. And he's really been able to stand out through that, and then kind of parlay that into other stuff. Like, he is working on TNA, as I just mentioned. He just won the Battle Royal to earn a title shot. That won't be on the AMC premiere. It will be in a couple of weeks. He'll get his title shot. So yeah, like, good on Bear Bronson. He seems, by all accounts, a really good dude as well. And you know, we like to see those guys succeed.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, if you're a fan of deathmatch wrestling, you've probably already seen the NGI. But if you're interested in it, that's one of the top deathmatch tournaments that you could watch all year. So, congratulations, Bear Bronson.
All right, I'm going to play these videos from Cabana Man Dan here that he has sent over. They're both about 2.5 minutes long, so we're gonna pop those up now. This is just ahead of his retirement match on Saturday. It's kind of the build to the match and a look back at some of his career and everything. So I hope everybody enjoys these videos, kind of in the lead up to his retirement match on Saturday.
Years ago, I started in a professional wrestling ring in Center, Alabama, in the back of an antique store, taking flat back bumps in a rickety ring from Chief Little Wings. I tore it up all through Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. Every single day, the sun comes up and we're blessed. We're blessed from God every time we get to see the sun go up. Unfortunately, for the career of Cabana Man Dan, it sunsets in 2025. But the ride doesn't stop here, Doug. I will leave my flip-flops in the ring December 20th in Gadsden, Alabama at the venue. I guess now, Dan, we need to start thinking about who's that last match would be with.
I hope we don't get demonetized from that video or from that song.
I don't know. I don't know how that works on YouTube.
I mean, if it's
We'll have to find out.
a copyright song, then that's how it works. All right, we have one more video from Dan to play.
Birmingham, Alabama, Mike Jackson.
His opponent from Birmingham, Alabama, weighing in at 200 pounds, Mike Jackson.
WA of the former champion. Mike Jackson now very quickly. Side headlock into a hip.
Mike Jackson. You know, Mike, you've caught me at a...
Okay, we might really get demonetized for that song.
Yeah, we probably can't play. The other one was kind of more vague in the background.
Yeah. I don't
Well,
know
if you want to watch those videos, I don't know how that works. I have no idea. Those videos are available on the New South X account and on Dan's channel.
Yeah, they're on the New South account, and yes, they are also on Dan's channel. So yeah, you can watch those videos. Yeah, I don't want to get us demonetized on the videos. I didn't recognize the first song, so again, I'm hoping like that's okay. I know this is a cover of a song, but it's also it's a Neil Young song. I don't know who the cover is, but I also again don't want us to get demonetized, because if it's certainly if it's Neil Young, we're screwed.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to get. I say you guys. I'm included in that also. I don't want anyone to get in any trouble either. But that was a great video though. A great video package.
Yeah.
And if you want to check out the rest, yes, just go check that out over on Twitter so that we don't get in trouble for showing it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Jensen?
No, that's that. Support Dan, support independent professional wrestling. Hope everyone has a good rest of your 2025. Be back here in 2026. I don't know if we'll do a show. We'll talk, but I don't know if we'll do a show or not New Year's Day. I guess it kind of depends on, kind of what both of our schedules are looking like that day or that night. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, X at @FightTalk_. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really say. Appreciate everybody for another year of the spotlight. The actual anniversary of the show, I think, is in February. I think that'll be 4 years. So
is it really 4 years? Wow.
Maybe longer. At least 4 years. It got to be at least 4 years. I think.
I don't think it's been longer. I think it started in 2022. So yeah, it would be 4 years.
4 years, man. Yeah, that makes sense, because that was around the time that I started the job that I currently do, the shoot job. So, anyways, appreciate y'all. As always, everyone who watched live, thank you very much. Anyone who's in the chat, thank you. Thank you to anyone who watches this on demand, and anyone who has watched the entire year. Also, thank you to anyone who listened to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast over the last 7 years or whatever. The show ended a couple months ago, but I appreciate y'all as well. So if you are a fan of if you're a viewer, whatever you want to call yourself, of this show or of anything we do at Fightful, I do appreciate all y'all. So appreciate you too, Jeremy. Had a good time doing the show.
Appreciate you as always, Jensen. You have a good rest of your year. You have a happy holidays. I'm sure I'll message you and we'll chat throughout the
Happy Hanukkah, everyone. I forgot to mention Happy Hanukkah. It is currently Hanukkah right now. It's the 5th night of Hanukkah, I believe. So.
All right, folks. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Again, we will see where we are going with on New Year's Day. So maybe not for another 3 weeks potentially with us. But I'll be back tomorrow, myself and Joel Pearl in the weeds, 10 a.m. Eastern, talking a bunch of nonsense, I'm sure. Until then, everybody take care. Everybody enjoy your Thursday. And we will catch y'all later on.
Skol Vikings.